Welcome back to part 2 of our landscapes this week, boys and girls. Last week we made these beautiful colored backgrounds. We used our line patterns and designs that we know, painted across from edge to edge, and then used our painting techniques to fill in all of the white space. So we have these gorgeous warm or cool colored backgrounds. Beautiful. If you don't have a background, go back and do last week's video, do some painting, and come back here. This week we are going to work on some silhouettes. Ooh, silhouette. Such a big fancy word. Silhouettes are when a shape doesn't have any color. It's just sort of like a shadow because the light is behind it. And in our paintings today, the light and the color is behind, and our tree is going to be silhouetted in the front. So we're going to work with our neutral color scheme this week, boys and girls, choosing either a black or a brown piece of paper and creating a tree with that neutral piece to go on top. This week's assignment requires us to have our background painting from last week. It's either warm or cool colors. You need a black or brown piece of paper from your construction paper, your colored paper kit. And you are going to need some glue. You do not need scissors today this week. We are going to make it by tearing our paper all apart. Yes, you are allowed to tear paper. Fun. So grab your background, your neutral colored of paper, black or brown, and your glue, and meet me back here and I will show you how to make your tree silhouette today, boys and girls. Remember, this is the final part of your art assignment. So this week you will take a picture and submit it on Canvas so that I can see your artwork when it's all done. Welcome back, boys and girls. Last week we created these gorgeous warm and cool colored backgrounds. You got to make just one, and you decided if you wanted your backgrounds to be all warm colors with your, say it with me, yellows, oranges, reds, and everything in between. Or you decided to make yours a cool colored color schemes with your blue, purple, and greens. Gorgeous. I'm so impressed with all of your line designs, your squiggles, your zigzags, your castles, your dotted lines, your swirlies. Amazing. These, boys and girls, are going to be the background for our landscapes today. So set these off to the side for now. Instead, you should also have your glue bottle and a piece of neutral colored paper. We talked about color schemes last week, boys and girls, and this week we are going to work with our neutrals. So either a black or a brown piece of paper, because we're going to make a really cool tree silhouette today. Now, trees are pretty neat. They have fun parts and pieces. If you look right here, you can see that trees have lots of parts. They have the great big super thick trunk. They have the branches, which are the smaller parts that come off the trunk. There are twigs, which are itty bitty tiny pieces that come off the branches. And then, of course, our trees have leaves and roots. Now, today we probably won't put leaves on our trees because our tree is going to be a wintry or fall tree without any leaves. And we probably won't have roots because you normally can't see those. They're underground. But we will definitely have great big trunks and branches and tiny little twigs. So choose one of your pieces of neutral colored paper. I'm going to go with black today. And the first step is to use your fingers, no scissors today, and rip your paper into strips. So to do that, I'm going to start at one edge of my paper in a corner, and I'm going to put my pinchers to good use today, everybody, and I'm going to rip and tear my paper. Now you can rip with one pincher, holding your paper down and pulling, little pulls. You can see what happens if you do a big pull. Oh, it kind of got pulled off a little tiny there. We want to make strips of paper. So try to make some that are really long. Whoa, look how long that one is. You can even turn your paper another direction and pull that way too. Sometimes your paper will pull straighter if you pull it one way. Look at that big piece. So I'm going to keep ripping and pulling and rip my paper all apart. Ooh, look at that. It's kind of fun how they have pointy parts and square ends. So rip your paper up. Now remember, some of our tree bits are skinny, so try to make some little skinny ones and some fat ones. Oh boy, it's not very often I get to rip paper all up. Now, boys and girls, remember our parts of our tree. We have trunks, branches, and twigs. The trunk is the biggest part of your tree, so find the biggest piece and set it aside. Your branches are the medium-sized ones that are kind of big and come off the trunk. And then your twigs are your little pieces. So take a second and organize your pieces into big, medium, and little. Okay, my pieces are all organized by big, medium, and little. And now I get to put it all together on my paper to make a tree. Now you can decide, boys and girls, if you want your landscape to go nice and tall this way with a great big tree, or if you want it to go this way and maybe have more than one tree. It's up to you. If your tree goes this way, you can work on making a big, tall tree that fills up your whole page. My suggestion, find the biggest piece and start with the trunk. That's going to go right there in the middle. Then you can use some of your medium pieces to make branches. Now, trees like to go in Y shapes. So if I put a branch on, I want it to go in a Y or a V shape. Some of your pieces might be too long, so you can rip them and make them a little tinier to make your Y. And then I can keep adding a few more branches to my trunk. Before I do any gluing, I'm just going to play around for a little bit to get it the way I want it. Once I have a couple of big branches, I can start, I'm going to put another one down here. I can start putting some twigs on, so some littler ones that stick off the edges. And I can even rip them even tinier too. So each one of my little branches is going to get a twig, and the twigs also come off in a Y or a V shape. So every single one keeps coming off in a V. Cool. That tree is looking pretty awesome, boys and girls. And I'm going to keep going and filling it up. Cool. So that's one way to make a tree, boys and girls. I'm not going to glue anything yet because I'm going to show you some options. The other thing you could do, boys and girls, is make it go this way. So maybe your landscape goes sideways and you could do a little tree off to the side here. First start with your trunk, then your branches in a Y or a V shape. Always a Y or a V, and then we add our twigs, the little ones that also stick off those edges. They're bouncing all around because they're all curly. If I need more littles, I can just tear them. Now, if I do it this way, I might have space to put a second tree. I could do one just as big or even a little bit smaller. Always, again, doing my branches with a Y, whoops, or a V. Look at that big blobby branch. Goodness gracious. Now, before I glue anything down, boys and girls, I kind of play around and make sure I like the way my tree looks. So that way I don't get stuck in. Cool. Excellent. Excellent. So once you have your tree figured out, boys and girls, then you can start gluing. Whether you're doing one or two trees or just one, you can decide. Now to glue, boys and girls, these are skinny little strips. So take your time to glue your tree down. Take your piece and remember, dot, 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 not a lot. So a piece at the bottom, a piece at the dot at the top, and maybe 2 dots in the center. That's all you need. Bottom, top, middle. Then flip it over and stick it down. Whoops. Then I can do the same for my branches. Remember, 3 dots, bottom, top, middle. That's it. Oh, I got a little trail there, and that's okay. Glue it down in a Y and stick it and hold. Next branch over here. 1, 2, 3. And as you go, always hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, so that it sticks before you add a new piece. 3 dots. Stick it down. And keep going until you're all done. Remember, as your pieces go out, they get smaller and smaller. The trunk turns into a branch, which turns into a twig. So they always get smaller. You can even cut out, if you have a piece of paper big enough, boys and girls, you can tear out a little circle and put a moon in your landscape. You could put trees in your landscape. It's up to you. So boys and girls, keep gluing and sticking everything down. Gorgeous. So whether you have 2 or you have one great big one, your landscapes are going to be gorgeous. I can't wait to see them with their cool or warm colored schemes and your designs for your trees with your thick trunks, medium branches, and tiny twigs. Have fun creating, boys and girls. When you're all finished, take a picture and upload it on Canvas so I can see what you made and give you credit. Good luck! Keep creating and keep smiling, friends. Bye!